Hello everybody, Hassan here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I wanted to go over the NVTA's quarterly report that was published this week. In fact, our last two videos on this company gained a lot of views, and I thought myself, I think it'll be a good idea just to talk about their actual report. So just as a reminder, the first video I did on them was basically explaining why it was more a video on SoftBank rather than Invitae. But obviously I talked about Invitae. I sort of crushed the company in a sense because I was sort of bashing on it. And then the next day, obviously Invitae went on to publish this report here that I'm gonna take a look at it in this video. And the stock went up basically 3x at that point. I made that video, and both of those videos back to back days got like 500 plus views. And clearly there was a thirst for that information to see what is going on with this company on YouTube. And I said to myself, why not just make a video on the actual report so that we can sort of close the loop, right? Pre, during, and afterwards, right? This is how I look at it. And again, if you guys are curious about, my thoughts about this company, me diving deep into this company, I actually made a video, I think in 2021. I don't think it was in 2022, but I definitely made a video on this company going over what they do, sort of look at social media, what they thought about this company and so on. But again, this was well before this company was down like 95% today from its all-time highs, right? So take that for what it's worth. So second quarterly report. Again, I'm not going to go through every single slide here, but I will blitz through just so that we have a good idea. So organizational update, compelling value, okay, extending cash. Just behind my screen, you guys don't see this, but it says extending cash runway to end of 2024 through realignment plan. Okay, so continuing improvement in key metrics board in Q2, executing towards optimal position to manage long-term liabilities. Okay, cool. Again, they have several branches here: the genetic testing, digital health, and genome management. I think it's the first time they sort of post something like this in the slide. I guess they're sort of changing the way they communicate their message. But it is existing franchise. Oncology, that's a big one. Women health is definitely a big one as well. We take a look at their, so what they're bridging traditional testing to genome management. Okay, so this slide is definitely new. I don't think they've ever published this slide. I'm gonna minimize my face here so that you guys can see a little bit more of the slide. Maybe not everything, but okay. So we take a look at, so they have this guideline of expansion posted here, criteria for evaluation. Okay. Um, Meet GIA, provider decision support, patient data network, worldwide clinical enter into strategic collaboration with Invitae. So we know Invitae's path to getting up there with the big guys is through collaboration partnerships, B2B with hospitals and so on. So that we already know. Um, Specifically the B2B side of things, I think that's what I'm most interested in. Oncology platform, like I mentioned, it's very big, like early detection, personalized treatment, monitor outcome. I mean, that's a huge market. So financials, we take a look at it. Platform revenue by breakdown. So compared to each of the Q2 from the last 2 years, so 2020, 2021, 2022, you can clearly see a huge growth here. 2022, you guys don't see that, but that's 137 million. Again, it's a small number in the sense, but look, 46 million in 2020. In 2 years, you get that quarterly at 137. I think it's pretty significant. I think it's pretty good, especially for a company that's down 95% since its all-time highs. I think that's quite a significant way of looking at it. But of course, revenue is not the whole thing. You gotta look at operating gross margin. Um, so they're at gap at 19% compared to 2021. They were at 23%. So you see, even though they increased their revenue, they decreased their gross margin, and that's most likely because they increased their expenses. And you can see here, the expense increased here from R&D and SG&A. R&D, you only had 9 million increase, but SG&A you had like 21 million increase. Okay, I mean, it is what it is. Okay, so you have this huge OpEx revenue difference here. Okay, sure. I think there's also the goodwill impairment charge, I think, in there somewhere. But anyways, um, the cash The cash went from 1.5 to 737, so that's definitely not good. You're losing cash there. Portfolio growth, channel access, economics, active accounts. Okay, so strategic investment. Okay, so let's take a look at numbers. Active accounts grew from, if you compare to Q3 2021, from 17 to 20,000. That's pretty good. That's in millions, of course. So that's pretty good. So 17 to 20, that's pretty good. I mean, you look at new product vitality, 68 to 50. Okay, active partners from 169 to 32. I mean, I'm just comparing whatever time frame they're giving, but obviously you want to try to compare from quarter to quarter or even quarter Q2 from the year previous. Um, I find it weird. I guess they just wanted to publish the consecutive quarters as opposed to comparing 2022 Q2 and 2021 Q2. Um, okay. So again, this number is very important. I mean, patients served and number of patients available. I think that's great. I think honestly, if you're bullish about this company, everything I just talked to you about, the numbers and the high level stuff about this company, just if you just take a look at this metric, I think, again, if you've done your research, if you've done your metrics numbers, if you're quite confident about this company not going bankrupt, having cash, having the trajectory with the revenue, this should be the metric you're most focused on. Because if this trend reverses towards the negative side or declining side, then obviously we have a problem, right? If the number of patients on your platform. Same thing with Teladoc, right? It's the same exact story with Teladoc, in my opinion. I don't care about the goodwill charge. I mean, it is a big. I shouldn't say I don't care. I think it is important. It's definitely important, especially when you talk about a public company that has all its numbers posted. But ultimately, if you have more users, more accounts over year, last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you have a significant increase, not just like 5 to 10% users, like a lot more. I think that's the metric you should be focusing on, right? Revenue per patient, that's good too, but again, that could be misleading because if you increase your numbers of account and you don't really increase your revenue for whatever reason, that but it's still a good metric to look at. So they're talking about a lot more financials here. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. Um, okay, so financial guidance. So I think that was the big one because I think their financial guidance beat the Wall Street expectations for what the guidance is for them. I just find it weird that you have analysts, setting up these guidance, and if you beat those guidance, then now your stock is now better than what it was yesterday. I just find that weird, but whatever. Um, okay, so they're talking about cash burn here. They're expecting 600 to 650 in 2022, and it looks like they're decreasing that to 225 to 275 million in 2023. That is really interesting. That is really, really interesting. I think this is something you guys want to be really focused on because that's a huge decline. I mean, it's good you're burning less cash, but okay. Key takeaways. Okay, extends cash way to end of 2024. So obviously they're confident they won't be bankrupt before then. And obviously you have reasons to believe that looking at the cash in the bank there with almost 2 million patients, trailing 12 months key improvements, further market expansion, PGX, they mentioned PGX a couple times there, significant market opportunities. Yeah, so this is I mean, I'm not gonna go with the numbers at that point. You guys can go over it. I think there is an opportunity. In my opinion, I think Invitae is one of those companies that you want to be informed about because they're really strictly about genomics. When you talk about genomics, you have to put NVTA in there because they're working with like they're all about data, right? And they're basically leveraging technology and sort of merging and partnering up with companies like Teladoc and so on to sort of provide data. Again, it's all about being proactive rather than reactive. That's the whole goal for this company, and that's what they're trying to capitalize on, right? Their bet is that individuals with their technology, individual citizens around the world will say, you know what, we're gonna pay this company more because they can basically allow us to be proactive about our health. Now, obviously, it's not gonna be a direct relationship between the end user or the citizen and this company. There are obviously going to be entities in between like hospitals, institutions, governments, or even companies like Teladoc. But I think it's amazing. I think the B2B side of the business, I think there's an opportunity for Invitae. I mean, they obviously have the backing of SoftBank, which again, in this 3 series video of this week, the first video was all about that. You can watch that video if you guys are curious to see what I think about the relationship between SoftBank and Invitae. But obviously, they have backing of these big institutions. ARK Invest is big and huge on Invitae. I think their podcast episode between Dave Lee and ARK Invest analyst there that happened like 2 weeks ago. I think I don't 100% remember. I made a video on it. I'd have to verify what I'm about to say, but I do believe they talked about Invite and about how this could be an opportunity for investors to take a look at this company, because I don't think there's any company, in my opinion, that's really doing what they're doing. The unfortunate part about Invite is that they're down 95% up their all-time highs, and unfortunately, people are putting this company in the same baskets as like the Pelotons of the world. But like I mentioned, my first video or second video of this 3 series video on Invite this week, Peloton is not in the same realm of Invitae, right? This company here is trying to change the world literally using technology about people's health. We're talking about diagnosing your cancer early on, or even being proactive before it even happens, using that data, leveraging it, partnering up with companies, as opposed to a company that's selling a home bike that really capitalized during this work from home period, as people were locked in, and then obviously burning cash because the whole business model is broken. Um, I think there are two different companies, obviously two different realms. I would never put those companies in the same basket. The only commonality is both companies' stock has been hit over 90%. But then again, that has no correlation, in my opinion, right? This is not, we're not talking apple to apple here. This is like, for me to even bring up Peloton in this type of video is sort of a disrespect to a company like Invitae, in my opinion. But you guys tell me what you guys think about this company. I'm gonna end this video like this. Thank you so much for watching, guys. My next video will be in Montreal. I am going to drive there shortly. I'll be in Montreal for the next week, so expect more videos. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you found value, subscribe if you're not, and I'll see you guys in the next video.